He was never big on surprises, so when I showed up at his guys' trip, unannounced, he wasn't happy to see me. I walked into the beach house and found him standing on the balcony, wrapping his arms around a woman who wasn't me. She turned around and gasped. "Who's this?" she asked, confused. He stammered, "She's a friend." I smiled sweetly. "Oh, is that what we're calling wives now?" Her face dropped. His friends looked away. I held up a champagne bottle and whispered, "Well, let's celebrate, you're both about to be single." I never imagined I'd be sharing this here, but recent events have left me reeling, and I need an outlet. Maybe writing it all down will help me process everything. My husband, Daniel, and I have been together for over a decade. We met during our college years at the University of California, Santa Barbara. He was studying engineering, and I was pursuing a degree in literature. Our paths crossed at a mutual friends party, and from that moment, we were inseparable. After graduation, we moved to San Francisco, where Daniel landed a job with a prominent tech company, and I began working at a publishing house. Over the years, our relationship had its ups and downs, like any marriage. But I always believed we had a strong foundation built on trust and mutual respect. Daniel wasn't one for surprises. He liked routines and predictability. So, when he mentioned a guy's trip to a beach house in Malibu, I didn't think much of it. He and his college friends had these trips occasionally, and I trusted him completely. The day before he left, I found an old bottle of champagne in our pantry. It was from our wedding, a vintage we'd saved for a special occasion. An idea struck me. Why not surprise Daniel and his friends with it? I imagined showing up unannounced, sharing a toast, and then heading back home. It seemed like a fun, spontaneous gesture, something to break our routine. The next morning, I packed an overnight bag, grabbed the champagne, and set off for Malibu. The drive down the Pacific Coast Highway was beautiful, with the ocean stretching endlessly to my right. I felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. Daniel might be a bit taken aback, but I was sure he'd appreciate the sentiment. When I arrived at the beach house, it was a stunning property perched on a cliff overlooking the ocean. I could hear laughter and music coming from inside. Smiling to myself, I walked up to the door and let myself in. The living room was empty, but I could hear voices coming from the balcony. As I stepped outside, my heart stopped. There was Daniel, standing close to a woman I'd never seen before. His arms were wrapped around her waist, and they were laughing, completely engrossed in each other. The woman noticed me first. She pulled back slightly and looked at me with a puzzled expression. "Who's this?" she asked, her brow furrowed. Daniel turned, and his face went pale. He stammered, struggling to find words. "She's a friend," he finally managed. I felt a surge of emotions, anger, betrayal, heartbreak. But I forced myself to stay calm. I smiled sweetly and said, "Oh, is that what we're calling wives now?" The woman's face dropped in realization. Daniel's friends, who had been chatting nearby, suddenly found their drinks very interesting, avoiding eye contact. I held up the champagne bottle and whispered, "Well, let's celebrate, you're both about to be single." The aftermath was a blur. Daniel tried to explain, to apologize, but I couldn't hear any of it. I left the beach house, got into my car, and drove. Tears blurred my vision, but I kept going, not knowing where to go, only knowing I needed to get away. Over the next few days, Daniel called and texted incessantly. He confessed that the woman, Sophia, was a colleague from work. Their affair had started a few months prior, during late nights on a project. He claimed it was a mistake, that he loved me and wanted to fix things. But how do you fix a shattered heart? I took some time off work and stayed with my sister in Los Angeles. She was my rock during this time, offering support without judgment. I confided in her, pouring out my pain and confusion. She listened, held me when I cried, and reminded me of my worth. One evening, as we sat on her porch overlooking the city, she said, "You need to decide what you want, not what Daniel wants or what anyone else thinks. What do you need to heal?" I realized I didn't have an answer. Our lives were so intertwined, our home, friends, even our routines. Untangling it all seemed overwhelming. A week later, I returned to San Francisco. Daniel was waiting at our apartment, looking haggard and remorseful. We sat down and really talked. He admitted to feeling disconnected, to seeking validation elsewhere instead of addressing our issues. I acknowledged that I'd been distant too, burying myself in work and neglecting our relationship. We decided to seek counseling, both individually and as a couple. The sessions were grueling, forcing us to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves and our marriage. There were days I wanted to walk away, when the pain felt too raw, too insurmountable. But slowly we began to rebuild. Trust isn't something that returns overnight. Daniel had to prove his commitment daily, and I had to find the strength to forgive, not for him, but for myself. It's been a year since that fateful day in Malibu. Our marriage isn't perfect, and perhaps it never was. But we've learned to communicate better, to be more present with each other. The scars remain, but they're a testament to our journey, to the battles we've fought and the resilience we've discovered. I don't know what the future holds. But for now, we're taking it one day at a time, learning to love each other anew, and hoping that this time, we get it right. I thought things were finally getting better. Daniel was putting in the effort. Therapy sessions, long talks, dinner dates, even just sitting beside me watching TV without checking his phone every 2 minutes. It felt like we were slowly becoming a team again. I wasn't ready to say I forgave him, not fully, but I was trying. Then last Thursday happened. I was at work, buried in a round of manuscript edits. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Daniel. Daniel, working late. Don't wait up. Love you. Nothing strange, right? Except something felt off. That little voice inside me, the one I tried to shut down after Malibu, whispered again. Check. I brushed it off for an hour. Then I Find My iPhone. His location? North Beach. Now, Daniel's office is downtown, roughly a 20-minute drive away. North Beach is bars, Italian restaurants, nightlife. Not exactly tech startup central. I stared at the little dot for a while. Then I got up, told my coworker I had a migraine, and left. I didn't even know what I expected. Maybe he was grabbing drinks with a client. Maybe he needed a quiet place to think. But maybe I found his car parked outside a dimly lit bistro on Grant Avenue. I sat in mine for a few minutes, heart racing. Then I got out and walked toward the window. There he was. He was sitting across from someone. A woman. Not Sophia, thank God, but she was young, maybe mid-20s, long brown hair, pretty in that effortless kind of way. She was laughing. Daniel was smiling. His body leaned in, comfortable. Familiar. I didn't storm in. I didn't throw anything. I stood there, watching for about 5 minutes, feeling the weight of my chest sink down to my stomach. Then I left. Back home, I waited. I didn't call or text. I just waited. 3 hours later, Daniel walked in. Same calm face. Same tired act. I asked him casually, how was work? He didn't even flinch. Stressful. I'm exhausted. That lie landed like a slap. I said nothing more. Just nodded. The next morning, I took screenshots of his location history and sent them to him with a single text. We're going to need to talk tonight. After work. He didn't respond for an hour. Then, Daniel, it's not what it looked like. Of course. Classic. I told my sister everything. She offered to come over, but I said no. I needed to face him alone. That night, I sat at our dining table while he stood pacing like a trapped animal. He swore it was nothing. Said her name was Rachel, a former intern. Said they ran into each other, spontaneously grabbed dinner. Said he didn't tell me because he knew how it would look. I asked one thing, did you flirt? He paused too long. I got up, walked to our bedroom, locked the door. He slept on the couch that night. The next morning, I left early, stayed gone till late. I needed air, space, clarity. That's when the second twist hit. I was at a coffee shop, minding my own business, when I heard my name. I turned. It was Sophia. Yes, her. She looked surprised to see me. She had sunglasses on, holding a laptop bag. Alone. I stared at her. She walked over slowly, then asked, "Can we talk?" What the hell? I should have walked away. I didn't. We sat at a corner table. She looked uncomfortable. Then she said the words I wasn't ready for. "Daniel reached out to me last month." I felt the blood drain from my face. She said he didn't do anything, not physically. But he emailed her. Just checking in. Saying he missed her brain, her insight, the way she got him. She said she ignored him, deleted it. I sat there silent. Just breathing. In. Out. Sophia said she came forward because, in her words, you deserve the whole picture. Not just the cleaned-up version he's selling you. I thanked her. Then I walked out and nearly threw up on the sidewalk. It all started unraveling from there. I started checking things I never used to. Emails, accounts, apps. I found nothing recent, but I started wondering how much I hadn't seen before. How long he'd been this version of himself. Every night now, I lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I even know the man next to me. Wondering what else he's hiding. Wondering why the hell I'm still here. This isn't the life I imagined. It's messy, raw, painful. And it's not over yet. A week passed after I ran into Sophia. Daniel noticed something had shifted. I didn't speak much. I didn't argue either. That scared him more. He kept asking if we were okay. I kept saying, "I'm tired." That was true. Tired of him. Tired of guessing. Tired of pretending. Then, another crack formed, and this one was different. I was cleaning the apartment, mostly to burn off the nervous energy when I found it. A receipt. It was tucked into a jacket pocket Daniel never wore. Dry cleaner must have missed it. It was dated 2 weeks ago. From a hotel. Not a big one. Just a boutique place downtown. The itemized bill wasn't long. Just one room. One night. 2 drinks from the minibar. Room service. That was it. No name attached, just the last 4 digits of his card. My hands were shaking when I confronted him that night. He looked like he'd seen a ghost when I held up the paper. He didn't deny it. He didn't try to spin it. He just said, "I needed space that night." I asked, "Space from what? Me? Or your guilt?" He said he didn't cheat. That he just needed to think. But I could see it in his face. The way his eyes dropped. The way his hands fidgeted. He was lying. Or at least hiding something. He insisted he was alone. I said I'd call the hotel and check their camera footage. He freaked out. Said it wasn't fair. Said he was trying to change and I was just trying to trap him. I didn't call. I didn't need to. I knew. But here's where it gets even weirder. A few days later, I got a message on Facebook. From someone I didn't know. Her name was Alexis. She said she didn't want to cause trouble, but she thought I should know. Apparently, she used to date Daniel. Briefly. Back in college. He ghosted her after 2 months. Not a big deal. Except, a few weeks ago, he reached out to her. Through LinkedIn of all places. Said he always thought about her. Said she popped into his dreams. She showed me screenshots. The messages started out casual. But within a week, he was telling her he was in a complicated situation with me. That he was emotionally unavailable, but missed feeling connected to someone. That one word, connected. He'd used it with me during therapy. Talked about wanting to feel connected again. I wanted to scream. Alexis blocked him. But she found me, because if it were me, I'd want to know. I thanked her. Then I sat in my kitchen for a full hour, staring at nothing. How many women were there? How many moments had he decided to choose them over me, emotionally, mentally, physically? Then something else started to eat at me. Sophia. Alexis. Rachel. Maybe others. All different types. Different looks. Different backgrounds. But one thing in common. They were all women he thought I'd never meet. I started to realize something sickening. This wasn't just cheating. It was a pattern. He was never caught before because I never looked. He didn't panic in Malibu because he didn't think I'd show up. He never thought I'd question his story. He counted on me trusting him. And for years, I did. That night, I checked our bank statements going back 2 years. Dozens of small charges I couldn't explain. Flowers, dinners, Uber rides to places I never went. Late-night ATM withdrawals. I started making a spreadsheet. The more I filled in, the sicker I felt. I wasn't just married to a man who cheated once. I was married to someone who lived a second life right under my nose. The final twist? I found an email. Buried in a forgotten Gmail folder linked to an old joint project we started years ago. He never deleted the account. I logged in out of curiosity. There it was. An email to a woman named Sabrina. He told her he was getting divorced. That I was toxic, manipulative, and emotionally cold. That he'd already moved out and was starting over. The date on the email? 6 weeks before I found him on that balcony in Malibu. He was already preparing the story. Already setting me up as the villain. I read the email 5 times. Then I slammed my laptop shut and screamed into a pillow. I still haven't confronted him about Sabrina. Or the hotel. Or Alexis. He thinks I'm clueless again. That I've calmed down. That therapy is working. But I'm not calm. I'm collecting. This time, I'm not going to walk in with champagne. Next time, I'll be walking in with something much stronger. Daniel didn't know I had everything. He thought we were in a slow rebuild. That therapy had bought him time. That I was still half in the dark. But I was wide awake. I spent 3 weeks collecting receipts, literal and emotional. Printouts. Messages. Screenshots. Every lie. Every betrayal. Every thread from every woman he'd strung along. The spreadsheet kept growing. My pain turned into proof. I didn't want revenge. I wanted truth in full daylight, not behind locked bedroom doors or whispered therapy sessions. So I planned it. Daniel's birthday was coming up. His friends were throwing a small gathering at our place. I said yes to it. Smiled. Played the part. Bought food. Cleaned the apartment. Sent the invites. I even got him a gift. A silver pen engraved with "Start telling the truth." He didn't get the joke yet. That night, the apartment filled with laughter and music. His old college friends were there. A couple coworkers. My sister, too, only because I told her I'd need her. He was glowing, like nothing was wrong. Halfway through the party, I stood in the middle of the room and clinked my glass. Can I say a few words? Daniel looked surprised, then touched. Everyone hushed. I smiled. Daniel, we've had a tough year. But I want a night to be about honesty, about love, and about truth. He nodded, looking moved. He reached for my hand. I pulled away. I just have a few things I want to get off my chest. I walked over to the TV, connected my laptop. My heart was thudding, but my hands were steady. Slide 1. The hotel receipt. Slide 2. The messages with Alexis. Slide 3. The email to Sabrina. Then Sophia's screenshots. And finally, the spreadsheet. Dozens of women, dates, locations. Silence. Pure, suffocating silence. Daniel just stood there, jaw open. A few friends gasped. One of his coworkers quietly walked to the door. I turned to him. You told me you were trying. You told me it was just one mistake. You said you loved me. He opened his mouth. Closed it. My sister stepped beside me. You better say something. Fast. He finally spoke, voice cracking. I didn't know how to stop. I thought I could fix it. I thought I could be better. I laughed. Loud. Sharp. You didn't want better. You wanted everything. Me at home. Them on the side. A second life with none of the consequences. He started crying. I didn't expect that. Not real sobs, but that choked guilt when you realize you're exposed and there's nowhere to run. Someone from the party whispered, Jesus Christ. Then came the attempts to justify. I felt empty. I didn't feel loved. You were always working. I raised my hand. Stop. He stopped. You made me feel insane for doubting you. You held my face in your hands after Malibu and told me she meant nothing. But you were already contacting the next one. He fell to his knees. Literally. And I felt nothing. Not pity. Not rage. Just done. I'm leaving, I said. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now. Gasps. More silence. My sister grabbed my suitcase from the hallway closet. I'd packed earlier. Daniel reached for me. I stepped back. I loved you, I said. But I won't be your rehab. You don't need a wife. You need a mirror. As I walked out, someone asked, "How long had you known?" I turned back. Long enough to stop being stupid. Not long enough to stop being hurt. We left. The next few days were a blur. Daniel called, texted, left voicemails. I didn't answer. He even showed up at my sister's, begging to talk. She told him to leave or she'd call the cops. Some friends reached out. A few didn't. People pick sides in these things, even when the truth is plain. One of his friends messaged me, "You deserved better." We all knew something was off. Thanks. Little late now. I filed for separation 2 weeks later. There were no legal battles, no big fights after. Just silence. The kind that follows a bomb going off. I started therapy again. For me this time. Not for us. Some nights, I still cry. Not because I want him back, but because I hate what I let myself believe for so long. I thought love was enough. But love without honesty is just hope dragging a corpse. I look in the mirror now and I see someone who survived herself, her blind trust, her silence, her need to be the cool, understanding wife. Never again. I don't know what's next. Maybe a new city. Maybe a dog. Maybe just peace. But I know this, I'm not broken. I'm not too much. And I'm not staying quiet anymore. He told that girl I was toxic. Funny. Turns out, I was the cure.